Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to nearly half of first marriages. So how do you announce your divorce? And why are divorce announcements essential to the divorce process? Welcome to a special season of a Fresh Story podcast. Let's talk about divorce announcements.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Okay, hello. We're here with, I like to call you the unsinkable Molly McPherson, because that's my name for you. But we're here with Molly. Molly, can you tell the listeners who you are and what you do?
Well, in context, I am unsinkable. I
You
am
are.
just like you. We've had a tough life and we're still floating out there. My name's Molly McPherson. I'm a crisis communication strategist. I do that full time by day, and I moonlight on social media, particularly TikTok.
You do. You're a TikTok star. So, Molly, the reason I brought you in here is because as we were interviewing people, we interviewed even Tom Arnold. We talked to him, and he was talking to us about how, you know, when you put together a divorce announcement, quote unquote, whether it's talking to your social media community, your friends and family, it really is like you have to put on a publicist or a crisis communications hat. So I was like, well, who can we bring in to talk about this? Well, Molly's the perfect person. So I would love to know, first of all, Molly, why do you think we're in this kind of era of people, celebrities and regular people, really being open with announcing their divorce on social media, especially?
Social media democratized just the conversation and our culture out there. It's kind of merged the celebrity world, which seems so beyond for the regular person. But now people, because of social media, can see that just because someone's a celebrity, they have the same problems like everyone else. So celebrities have to navigate the very personal problems that regular people have as well. So now we can see how both sides react to divorce announcements.
Yeah. And, you know, I think about this a lot because you'll see, let's take Kelly Clarkson, who I love, for example. Yes. She had to deal with custody shit just like the rest of us, right? Like divorce, you know, 50% of first marriages, and it goes up for second and third marriages. There are people that are dealing with it. And I appreciate the celebrities that talk so openly about it. I was just looking at Zooey Deschanel is married to, or getting married to, I can't remember his name. John,
one of the
brothers, right?
One of the brothers,
right.
Yeah.
And on Father's Day, she had beautiful pictures up of her ex-husband and him and the kids. And I appreciated that so much because that's the kind of representation that we need from celebrities, right? Like about blended families and co-parenting. So I love that you said that because I think it's so true. So if somebody's listening to this and they're thinking about how to talk about their divorce publicly or announce their divorce, putting that publicist hat, that crisis communications hat on, what would be some strategies and tips you could give them?
Well, you and I both know no divorce is alike, and everyone is facing their own challenge as they go through it. So when you mentioned, you know, two people, we have two known people who, you know, went through divorces, and now Zooey Deschanel, she's, you know, remarrying again. So on the one side, we have someone in a blended family, you know, how everybody's coming together and taking photos. And that is certainly a blueprint for people who aspire to have that type of a setup.
Yep.
However, Kelly Clarkson was very open, as well as trying to keep things close to the vest while she was struggling through her divorce. And her divorce in particular is the type that I think, funny that you mentioned her because Kelly, I think, has one of the most authentic divorces that you see out there because I think she represents a lot more people, particularly women, going through challenges of that difficult divorce. People aspire for the perfect ones, but there's so many people out there who are struggling and saying, we're never going to be like that.
Yeah, I agree. So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, okay, so I'm ready to renounce it. I'm getting through the process. Like, you know, I know, and I recommend to people, here are some things maybe to not put on social media. Here are some things to put on social media. What would you say kind of just for fun is like a standard way that you could put up on social media that you're getting divorced?
Yeah, well, a divorce statement is no different than a media statement. So when I'm
Right.
working with someone going through some crisis or some issue, we have to put together a statement.
Right.
Now, and the question that I always ask, first of all, what's at stake? Why do you need to write your message a certain way? Are you trying to frame your divorce a certain way? Are you protecting certain entities as you write that? That's what you have to determine first. I know for a lot of women, myself included, we have young kids.
Yeah.
Many people just want to put their former spouse on full blast. That feels like the best thing to do, but we can't do that.
No.
So that's the first question to ask is truly what's at stake? What's your intention here? And is it to go quietly or to let everyone know? You have to make that choice. And then if you do want to make it public, you can only write around what that relationship is going to be in the divorce and how you're going to collaborate. So if you're going to focus on anything, focus on the collaboration of it. Oh, we're both raising our kids. We're both devoted to our kids, our families, whatever it is. Leave it on a high note. So,
Love that.
and what you're doing with that type of a message, you're letting everyone know, like all your stakeholders in PR terms, your friends, your families, people you know, how to treat you in that divorce because it's very awkward for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the counter to that makes it a little more challenging, right? When it's somewhat of an acrimonious divorce.
Yeah, I love that advice. So why do you think it's so empowering to have that narrative in your hand?
Because divorce creeps into so many other areas. It's not just posting on Facebook so your friends see. It's, do I want everyone to know? And in some cases, it's for probably more women as opposed to men.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm a divorcee. Like, well, how are people going to judge me? What are people going to think about me? And just the same women who struggle. Oh, am I wearing a ring? Am I not wearing a ring?
Yeah.
Are people judging me because I'm divorced? Do they think I'm going to screw? People think about it constantly. So on the one hand, I would say, don't sweat it. The only person sweating about your divorce announcement is probably you and you alone.
Yeah.
And all that this announcement is going to do is just going to help frame where you want to be in the future. And it's okay if you have a painful divorce and you never want to talk to your spouse again. It's okay to not announce it.
Yeah, it is absolutely okay to not announce it for sure. And as somebody that is divorced and is a public figure like yourself, do you have any tips for people on kind of moving forward and maybe talking about divorce without actually talking about divorce?
Yeah, Olivia, it's funny. You and I are so similar and we're in the same lane, yet your entire business, which was really framed by your divorce and created by your divorce, is a part of your whole business. And you're very open about that and the branding. And I shared with you, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Working in crisis communication, my skills in my crisis communication, my crisis prediction skills were honed by this divorce. Like I had the most brutal of brutal divorces that I am still dealing with to this day. I don't want it to bleed into my persona, which means I don't want to lead with divorce. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to hide it. I mean, I wrote a book and I discussed it in my book, but I don't lead with it.
Yeah.
And and I just know from my replies and people talking to me, nobody really kind of knows what the deal is with me. And like, is she married? And even on my Google search, my top one is, who is Molly McPherson's husband?
Oh my God.
And what that tells me as a PR person is like, oh, good. That means people are, I don't lead with that.
Yeah.
But the only reason why is because I have children and I worry, college age children, and I worry about them.
Yeah, but it is possible. I mean, I talk to a lot of writers who write divorce memoirs and things, and it is possible to talk about what happened to you without talking about what happened to you, right? It's because you're talking about it from your own experience.
Yes. And most people, and myself included, we're not completely silent on it. It's just we choose the channel where we want to speak about it.
I love that.
Now, me personally, I never mentioned it on Facebook. People had to put two and two together. And as I go through time and I meet people, I can tell as soon as they're 10 feet away, they have that look like they want to ask, they want to find out.
That's so funny.
But people can put two and two together.
Yeah.
But there are other places. Like, for instance, I wrote a book about it. I had a podcast for over 5 years. I talked about it a great deal on my podcast.
Yeah.
I just don't make it a part of my persona on social media. But Olivia, I will tell you, it's changing. Now that I'm branching into other areas, I'm creating a whole new keynote.
Yeah.
And in that keynote, my origin story about crisis communication starts with my divorce.
As many good origin stories do, Molly. Well, we appreciate your insight so much. Molly, where can people follow you and find you and get all the other great insight that you give on everything?
Yeah, of course, mollymcpherson.com. And then on all my social medias, I have a link in bio that has all the places you can find me.
Amazing. Thank you. We appreciate you so much, Molly.
You too, Olivia.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. A Fresh Story podcast is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the first and only platform for everything you need to begin again, from home items to Hype Team and everything in between. You can learn more and read today's show notes at afreshstory.com.